Hello guys, welcome to Python and Machine Learning Daily. Today we will talk about Pandas data frames or CSV files as source of them and empty values inside. There are various ways how to deal with those empty values, but it is needed in almost every project about data processing and machine learning. So we've written an article on our Python ML Daily website, and I will link that in the description below. And in this video, I will read that article and summarize it to you with various ways how to deal with those empty values. So imagine you have this data set read from CSV, for example, and Pandas show you NaN here and how to deal with that. So first, how to find those empty values and then how to replace them or process in other ways. So first, finding those rows and columns which are empty. You can use isNull method following by some or any method to check or calculate. For example, isNull sum will show you column by column how many empty values are there in each column. But if you want to just know the fact if there are any, then of course any, and then it returns true or false. Also, you may see sometimes people use isNA instead of isNull, and in fact it is the same thing. isNull is an alias for isNA. Then example, calculating the percentage of empty rows. If you want to do that, you can just do column by column, data frame columns, and then calculate sum of that specific column, not the full data frame, dividing by length of the full data frame, and then you have this list of empty columns with their percentage. Also, you may use isNull as a mask. For example, this code will show only the rows that have all empty rows. And then the second part, what do you do with that? So you found out columns, and then what you can do, replace with something or drop those values. And there are two methods that you need to know, fill NA and drop NA. For example, for all the data frame, for all the empty values, you want to replace them with 0. And this is the result, as you can see, and the parameter in place true will just replace the data frame with the new value, so you don't need to define a separate value like df filtered or some other variable. It just overrides the same value. But be careful with that. It depends on what you want to do later. You may want to have data frame, the original data frame, still present, so you may want to define a separate variable after all. So if you don't specify that parameter, in place by default is false. Then also with fill NA, you may specify the columns to fill. So for example, sleep disorder column, fill that with no, and this is the visual result. Also, if we take a look at drop NA, it works pretty similarly. With in place true, you just won't see those empty columns and rows. Important kind of a warning or notice what exactly is empty. So those NaN values, what about none in Python, or what about empty string? Is it the same? No. If your CSV contains empty string like this one or like this one, this is not the same as NaN. So if we execute df head, this is NaN and this is empty string. Again, it's not the same. So if we do fill NA, it's filled with zeros except for that empty string. So in those cases, you have to perform special operations, like for example, replace that with 0 manually on top of doing fill NA. So yeah, these are methods that you want to use with empty values in your data source imported into Pandas data frame. I hope it's helpful. Subscribe to the channel to get more tips and overviews of Python functions and Pandas library and other related tools, and see you guys in other videos.